This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's really nice out. It's like 67 and a mostly clear, beautiful morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, July is supposed to be the best month of the year anyway, isn't it?
I think so. It's like pretty much perfect Minnesota weather.
And this week's looking real nice. It's
It
gonna
is.
There's like no rain. It's going to be, I think it's going to get pretty hot actually by the end of the week.
It is, yeah.
Should be a good time for Minnesotans to get out and about.
But you know what? My granddaughter has an event, and my daughter asked Catherine to go with him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when it's going to be like 92 here, actually, I should never use it. Temperature 92.5. Should I?
No, 91.
91, exactly. But when it's going to be 92 here, she's going to be in Orlando, where it's supposed to be well over 100.
Oh.
It's like, oh my God, going to Orlando in July. Oh boy, what a thrill!
Nope.
That doesn't sound great.
That should be fun. So a couple of things happened over the week that we were gone. It was a great week. Everything went well. Spent a lot of time with the family, and Kath and I did a little travel. You guys ever been to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? Spokane, Washington, that whole area?
Nope.
I've never even been to Idaho.
Oh, gee. Well, it was the first time I ever went.
Okay.
I had never been in Washington or Idaho, and now I've been to both. Spokane is a highly underrated city. It's one of those cities that still has all that beautiful red brick architecture.
Okay.
Minneapolis, of course, tore all down because we're too cool and hip to have, red brick.
Mm-hmm.
It's just beautiful. The river, Spokane River, runs right through town, and the waterfalls are like 6 of them, something like that.
Jeez.
Just spectacularly beautiful. But the number one best part of it is Catherine were there for Hoop Fest, where they blocked off about 10 streets downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and they played basketball for 4 straight days.
What?
It was phenomenal. Oh, you got to go to Hoop Fest. I'm telling you, you played basketball, didn't you?
Not well, but yeah.
Not well, yeah.
I assumed it was going to be basketball, but there was a small part of me that was like, just only hula hooping.
Yeah.
Just only hula.
We're doing hula hooping. It's Hoop Fest,
It's
baby.
a lot of gyrating on a Monday morning.
But yeah, so Hoop Fest was great to watch because all the families were there supporting them, and it was not hard to get around. They blocked off enough space so you could walk across any intersection
nice.
or whatever. But that was terrific. The Davenport Hotel is a magnificently beautiful hotel right downtown Spokane. Spokane, seriously, I would highly recommend you go there. I mean, the one thing, unfortunately, as soon as the Hoop Fest ended, the old street drug fest began.
Ah,
I don't know where they hid them out during Hoop Fest. They weren't around.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally had to turn around and tell a guy, get the hell off my back, because Kath and I were walking down the street. And the guy was like coming closer and closer. It's like, I turned around and said, get the hell off what are you doing?
Yeah.
Nothing, man, nothing. I don't know. But all the drug addicts came out and died in the streets and all that great stuff that they do.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. Even here in Minneapolis, when they had the Taste of Minnesota and then the gymnastics stuff going on these last couple weeks, and once kind of all the tourists leave, then it's all the drug addicts and stuff like that filter their way back down Nicollet.
Now, Coeur d'Alene is about a 35 to 40-minute drive from Spokane. You can fly directly into Spokane from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Uh-huh.
And then the drive from Spokane, we spent 2 days in Spokane and 4 days in Coeur d'Alene. And it is one of the most magnificently beautiful, mountainous, lake, gigantic, the lake's like 25 miles long. And then I found out, basically, by comparison, Minnetonka's even bigger.
okay.
Minnetonka's got like 550 miles of shoreline because it goes in and out and in and out and in and out. So, I mean, it's just spectacularly beautiful. There's all kinds of stuff to do there. Really, really nice people. It's very, very laid back. But when you're walking down the street and somebody makes eye contact, they will always say good morning, good afternoon, whatever. Some people here, they look at you, but they won't say a word to you.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? Oh, and one thing I did not miss being gone that I ran into today.
Oh, no.
The left lane's doing 80, the right lane's doing 40. What the hell is that now? I forgot all about that being out of town for a while there. That I forgot that a lot of people like to do 40 on the freeway.
Yep.
Why?
it blows my mind.
It's comforting.
Yeah, it's comforting. There you go. But I did seriously. Whoever get a chance to go to Coeur d'Alene, there's another thing called, what is it called? Sand Point.
Okay.
That's about another 35, 40 minutes north of there. Spectacular lakes and mountains, and this beach was about a mile long, and I'm not kidding. It was about I would say 100 feet deep until you from the parking lot to the water, about 100 feet, and then it was about if it wasn't a mile long, it'd be just short of it. I'll tell you that. It winds around the lake and all that stuff. These kids were just having a ball. It was just it's one the Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, Spokane trip. I would do that again in a minute because did you ever look on the website at the pictures of the Coeur d'Alene, the main restaurant?
No.
It is one of the most spectacularly beautiful. It was closed for 15 years. They shut. The guy died or something, Mr. Davenport, or something happened, or his family didn't want to run the hotel. You know, they had enough dough, so they didn't want to run a hotel or whatever. They shut it down for 15 years. They were going to tear it down, and this is a spectacularly beautiful hotel. The interior, I mean, the exterior is even nice, but the interior just knocks your socks off. It's amazingly beautiful. It's gorgeous. So yeah, I had a wonderful trip. You guys go anywhere on your trip or your time off? I mean,
nowhere as beautiful as Coeur d'Alene or the Sandpoint. I'm looking at pictures of the lake, and it is fantastic.
In person, it's unbelievable.
Like this should definitely be a much more popular tourist destination.
Yep,
it probably is.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm looking at this here, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is super nice." And then it hit me. This is Idaho. The Idaho tourism board needs to get all new people. Because I didn't realize Idaho looked like this. I thought Idaho was just farmland and potatoes and crops. This is like a legit tourist destination.
Yeah. This will get added to the list of places I need to go immediately.
Oh, you got it. I'm telling you, you would, and the people could not be nicer. The weird thing about it is, because when I rolled into a hotel, I said, oh, we're going to be spending a little cash in the old restaurants. The prices are about 50 to 60% of what they are here.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot cheaper in Coeur d'Alene than it is here. Because, well, I'm not trying to stir the pot here because, as a matter of fact, it'll be a good segue into my next part that I want to get to. But Idaho is a very conservative state, so they don't have a lot of taxes on a lot of things.
Yep.
So that's why it's probably a lot cheaper there. The point was made over the weekend on my Facebook page that I am basically dead center now. And this does lock me into dead center politics for the rest of my life. You know, I like Democrats. I like Republicans. I do not like extremists on either side. You people are nuts, and I'm telling you. And here's a good example. I used to work with a guy years ago. He was not from the Twin Cities, was in a different business. But I worked with him. Well, I was in the record business many years ago. Well, that had to be even after that or before that. No, it'd be after that. I've known him for decades. I thought it was about 25 years, but it turns out it's like 40 years I've known the guy. And I get a call from him, and he said, "Man, did you hear what happened to Dana Perino?" And I said, Dana Perino is one of the anchors on Fox News. I said, "No, what happened?" And this guy knows she's one of my favorite people. I really think she's very talented. She's even keel, you know. Of course, the far left thinks she's too conservative, and the far right don't think she's conservative enough. And it's the usual argument. But she's a very, very talented woman. And he told me that she had been fired, that she had a battle with one of the other people, and they fired her, and blah 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 blah. So I get all pissed off, and I hop on Facebook, and I start ripping the piss out of Fox and everybody. Blah, blah, blah. Then I find out she was not fired, that he made it up. And I said to myself, what was this? Well, he wanted to get on this show. He has a new news business that he's starting. And he was trying to, get me all hyped up to have him on to talk about this kind of thing and all the rest of it. It's one of those bullshit news agencies, I guess, is what it is. But I'm all pissed off for about an hour because Dana Perino has been fired. Then I find out he was lying. Then I look like an idiot on Facebook.
All right.
But I tell you what, I got a lot of support from the listeners, man. The listeners were really nice to me. But it just made me sad to think, you have to lie to me to make money. even you have to lie to me to try to make money.
Yeah. And like, what was his end game? To like come on the show and then lie about her being fired?
Probably. Or somebody else being fired.
Yeah.
There's one thing. You guys, are you on Roku or are you on, what the hell's the other one that we're on now? Because we moved, so we're on a different, Google. We're on the Google service deal.
Like a streaming?
Yeah, streaming platform, right? They have all these little drops. They're like 6 to 12 minutes long of people just going after each other. Almost all of them are from the show The View. Holy God, those people go after each other. I've never seen that show. Other clips of it.
Yeah, that show is, because I believe it's like 5 women talk show, whatever. Yeah, they essentially they'll gang up on somebody and just destroy people. That's all the clips from that show that I see are just them going after people.
I watched some clips over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about racism more than Martin Luther King ever did, for Christ's sake. Their whole attraction is racism, how racist white people are. And 3 of them are white.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you want people to hate each other? I still will never understand that from the far left and the far right. Why do you have to force people to hate other people? I mean, it's disgusting, don't you think?
Yeah.
So basically, I came today to tell you, go to Coeur d'Alene and avoid people who lie to you to make money, the greedy pigs. And no, not everyone is a racist. I would say racism, I don't even think it breaks double digits anymore. It's probably about 9% of the population are racist assholes. And they're on all sides. And they say, just don't go anywhere near them.
Yeah. I feel like, most people don't really care. And then every once in a while, you'll find your groups of people that are extremely racist. But for the most part, I think it's kind of calmed down a little bit.
Now, we have to take a break here. I know that, but I don't know if you guys know this or not. But Phil Mackey over the weekend was fired by Judd Zulgad. Did you know that he fired him?
I know they've been spatting.
Yeah,
so
it's been unbelievable.
It's tough to see that boiled over.
He's moving over to SKOR South.
SKOR North to SKOR South.
Yes.
That's exactly right. So I will close with, once again, thank you for your support on Facebook. Our listeners were so damn supportive because God, was I pissed off when I found out he was lying to me. Just to make money again. Oh, Jesus. K&L Surplus and Ammo in Line of Lakes is my choice for firearms and ammunition. Yeah, it's a good thing to read. First thing to do is read about shooting somebody. That sounds good to me. Just kidding. Jim, the owner, is one of the most knowledgeable people in the business, has a great selection of all brands like Benelli, Tikka, Beretta, and SKB. I know hunting season is a ways off, but if you're thinking about getting something new for the upcoming season, now is actually a great time to start looking. The advances in rifle and shotgun technology over the last few years is amazing. If you're using something that's more than 10 years old, let's say, you might be missing out on better performance and better results. If there's anyone that can help you get the right gun for hunting this fall, it's Jim at K&L Surplus and Ammo. K&L Surplus and Ammo is on Lake Drive in the Line of Lakes and open Tuesday through Saturday. Call them at 763-757-2614, or you could also visit them online at www.klgunstore.com.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock, clearance, and new product sale right now for the best prices ever when you use promo code TOM. And you get free shipping on your entire order. Get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98 and take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything's on sale. For the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb, dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146 and use promo code TOM. You get free shipping on your entire order. So all you have to do is call 800-516-5146 or just go to mypillow.com and please do use promo code TOM.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Why is Phil on the screen? I thought the Judd fired him over the weekend. I had heard.
You were lied to again, sir. You were lied to again.
2 in a row.
Why don't you hop on Facebook with some more fake news, Tom?
Did you, honest to God, does that piss you off to no end when somebody does it? The guy was lying to me just to try to get on the show so he could plug his new business.
I think I'm not like easily triggered. I'm largely like pretty mellow and low key. Mm-hmm. People lying to me is one of my top 3 biggest triggers. In fact, I can't remember if I told you this story before, and I'm not going to say the name of the place, but I was at. Ooh. I feel like I told this like maybe the first month of these hits like a year and a half ago, but I'll repeat it if I have. Mm-hmm. So my wife and I and her parents went to, let's just say, an establishment where it was like a comedic establishment. Okay, a comedic establishment. We'll say. Small venue, 100 people or less, somewhere in that ballpark. And we were one of the tables sort of up next to the stage, and it was improv comedy. And long story short, the table next to us was like 8 people, 10 people just having the time of their life. I think they were celebrating something, and they were just like belligerent and yucking it up. And they like there might as well not have been a show on stage, right? They're just going crazy. So one of the servers comes over, and we thought they were going to take our drink order. And the server comes over like kind of during the show and says, and we kind of lean into, oh yeah, we'll take a couple more red wines, whatever. And she said, hey, I've received a complaint from the cast that your table is being too loud and we need you to quiet down. And I was like, oh no, it's the table over here, like it's the next table over. And she just kind of walked away. I kid you not, 20 minutes later, the manager comes over to our table again and says, hey, this is the second time that you guys have been warned about this being too loud. And we're just sitting there like having a good time. It's like very obviously the other table. And that's where I said, hey, listen, this is just a simple misunderstanding, sir. It's the table next to, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but it's that table over there that's being obnoxious. And again, I don't want to ruin their night. I'm just here to have a good time. And the manager looks me in the eye and says, I've been watching from the back of the room. I know that it's your table.
Oh my God.
Please quiet down. And that's where now I know you're lying. I know you're lying.
Yep.
And so that's like, it was red flares going off in my head. And I start calling him, you are a liar, sir. Sir, I know you are lying. And my wife is like, Phil.
No, not Phil. Go get him.
He kicked us out. He kicked us out. And then someone from the other table came over and tried to like explain, no, it was our table the whole time. By then we're like, let's get out of here. This is ridiculous. But don't lie to my face. Don't blow smoke up my ass, Tom.
Tom, why me?
Not you, just in general. People in general.
He brings up his ass and all of a sudden I'm the target. In any case, I just don't understand why people. Do you know why he was being such an asshole to you? Did you ever figure it out? I
think that, first of all, if you're on stage and you're performing improv and people are yucking it up, just deal with it. Just do the show, for one. And you should be happy that people are paying money and having a good time, whatever. Secondly, I think he was getting pressure from the performers, like during a break or something. Hey, get rid of the noise in front of the stage and get rid of the people. Mm-hmm. And rather than like trying to get to the right conclusion, he just had to try and kick someone out to appease the people on stage. And he was wrong. He was lying. He was a liar.
Did you ever end up going to see a psychiatrist about the fact that you actually went to see improv anyway?
I enjoy good improv shows.
Oh, yeah, good improv, but that's what, about 99.9% of the time is not.
It's a high wire act.
It definitely is a high wire act.
Yeah,
I love going to comedy shows and all the rest of it. But last time I went, there was a guy, and it was God. I was trying to remember who the hell my friend was up on stage. I don't remember. It's a while ago, but I got a friend named Fitz who's 6'5", weighs about 310. Huge man, right? And unfortunately for this guy, he was at a comedy store kind of deal. And a guy in the front row was drunk as hell, and he was ripping the shit out of my friend on stage.
Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah.
It was Andy Kindler. That's who it was. It was Andy Kindler. I remember now that it was him. I love Andy. He's just a great guy. So this guy's ripping the shit out of Kindler. Not in a funny way. You're not just being a prick for no reason because he was drunk. Right? And the great part of it is, so Andy Kindler, I'll be Andy Kindler here. I got to turn this like this. And this guy's screaming and yelling at him. And Andy looks over at the guy and he leans over and looks at Fitz. And then the guy stopped.
Yeah. Man, you never know what's going to happen inside these comic venues, man.
No, you never do. The guy was just being a prick. He says, we're here to laugh, not to hear you be a jerk to everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Amen. Exactly. The show's not about you. Yeah.
So I suppose we should talk a little about sports, but look at the education that people got by listening to this. Now they know that people are going to lie to you to make money, and then people are going to lie about you just because. I still don't understand why this guy wanted you out of there. It makes no sense.
I think you get caught in, your ego takes hold.
Yeah, true. Yep.
And you don't want to admit that you're wrong in that moment. And now you've got an angry Phil Mackey shouting you down for being a liar. And now your ego's flaring up even more. Yeah, that's my theory on it anyways.
So, I mean, that's the whole deal. Dana Perino, I hope she appreciated the misery I went through on her behalf, even though she wasn't involved in any way. Yeah, just whatever. I was out of town for a long stretch there, but I was trying to follow my Twins. And what was that one game I saw? They lost like 13-12. What the hell?
I think they scored, was it 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th? They almost came back and won. And what kind of sucks is, the game was deemed over by manager Rocco Baldelli. So he's, throughout the last couple innings, he's pulling starting players out, and they're kind of running out their ragtag relievers at the end of the bullpen. Well, if they had continued the race, throughout all 9 innings with their best players and pitchers, they probably would have won the game. But they still take 2. They're 12 games over 500. Yeah, we got the All-Star break in a week, but yeah, this is their high water mark of the season. Their offense has been so good. Mm-hmm. They are now the 4th highest run scoring team in all of baseball, behind only the Orioles, Yankees, and Dodgers after this weekend.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I got to watch them because, most places you go, well, first of all, you can pick them up on the MLB network anywhere but here.
Yeah. And
then here you can pick them up on DirecTV if you want to pay $100 a month to do that. I think it's like $100 a month to watch the Twins.
Yeah, I have been a YouTube TV guy we cut the cord like maybe 6 years ago. And at the time, YouTube TV had a partnership with Fox Sports North or Bally's, whatever.
Oh, sure.
And then like 2 years into that, they cut, so they can't reach an agreement. And so I bit the bullet. Fubo TV is one of the only streaming platforms, but that's like $90 a month. I don't know. Just this is where baseball and the Twins, by the way, the Twins are complicit in this because they knew that the Xfinity Comcast deal was up on May 1st without a signed agreement beyond that, and they took the check anyways. But it's like, okay, it's 2024. You can pretty much get access to any information. You can watch anything. Like I'm a big poker guy, and I'm laying in bed last night on an app called the Poker Go app, watching the World Series of Poker main event on my phone in Vegas. You can watch whatever you want, except a Twins game, apparently. If I want to give you, like I said to Poker Go, I am such a degenerate. I will pay you $20 a month to watch poker on my phone. And I can't go to the Twins or baseball and say, here's $100 bill.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to buy your product directly, $20 a month. How can I watch a Twins game? And they're telling me you can't. You're not allowed to unless you have DirecTV or Fubo TV or, whatever else. I think those might be the only two places besides the radio and Target Field you can watch a Twins game or consume a Twins game.
No, this was a different guy that told me this, but maybe he's lying too, just to try to get on the show. But I have heard now that the Pohlad family is deeply, deeply interested in selling the team because none of the grandkids want to run it.
Really?
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that the third generation Pohlads do not want the team anymore.
That's interesting.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I should do some sleuthing on that.
Yeah, I don't really know.
You and I can be an investigative reporting team and crack this case wide open. But yeah, I mean, so that's interesting because Joe Pohlad has been involved. They've been kind of grooming him for 15 years. He's been involved in every department. He's been involved in game day ops, marketing. He's sort of had a hand in everything, and now he's the day-to-day Pohlad that helps run the organization. But yeah, I don't know that there's ever been like a fiery passion on his end. He's he's media friendly, but he's not like media frontal. The family certainly isn't willing to overspend on a roster. I mean, they cut the payroll by $30 million this year.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that is, isn't that the case with any family business? If you bootstrap it and you're the first, maybe second generation that builds the $1 billion business, but now you get to third, fourth generation, it's always interesting to see if that passion trickles down multiple generations or if you're just kind of bored with it and want to carve your own path.
And that's what this guy claims. And, when you cut the payroll by 30 million, it's a pretty good indication that you're not really interested.
Yeah. I mean, the Pohlads have owned this team since 1985?
Yeah, a long time.
Mid 1980s.
Didn't they buy it for like $50 million or something?
Yeah.
It was not very much money.
Some of these teams, these NBA teams too now I think the Celtics are now being put up for sale and they're estimating a $5 billion purchase price.
Oh yeah.
God, if you bought a team for like $75 million back in the 90s.
Well, that's your boy down there in Mankato. What the hell's his name that owns
Glenn Taylor.
Glenn Taylor.
Yeah, but he's an idiot because what he did was he put an NBA team up for sale 3 years ago for $1.6 billion when it could have been sold for over $2 billion as they were about to hit a crescendo and then agreed to a 3-year like a 3-year transition period with the same purchase price. And now that the franchise is worth $3 billion, he's having regrets and trying to get out of the deal. And he might wind up actually getting out of the deal with a loophole, but yeah.
All right, I got to ask you in a closer here. I was remote, like I said, the whole time. I was out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and all the rest of it. But did we lose one of the Viking draft choices in a horrible accident or something?
Yeah, Khyree Jackson.
Oh, man.
He was a 4th-round pick, but he was one of the best cornerbacks in college football.
Right.
And there's a police report that came out. He was a passenger. There was two other football players that were, one of them played at Florida State, another one played at another school, but they were all, I think Maryland, but they were all high school football teammates in Maryland back, 5-6 years ago. And so 3:14 in the morning, I always cringe, man. Like I personally I feel uncomfortable just being on the road after midnight because there's just too many variables and weirdos out there. But it was 3 cars. It was the car that Khyree Jackson was in. He was a passenger. All 3 of those kids dead.
Jesus. The
driver that careened into their car and a 3rd car walked away completely unscathed. And the Prince George's County Police Department is saying just sort of loosely that alcohol may have been involved, but they're still trying to figure out if charges are going to be filed here. But I think the biggest twist on this is the woman that careened into Khyree Jackson's car. Some people have done some sleuthing on the internet that they all were friends and maybe out together at a bowling alley earlier in the night, and maybe they were racing on a street. So there's more details to come here. But I mean, at the end of the day, Khyree Jackson dead at the age of 24, and two of his friends and high school teammates around the same age also dead. Just a really sad story.
Very, very sad. And I picked it up remotely, so they didn't cover it, as closely as you did here, obviously. But yeah, very, very sorry to hear that. Just out having a good time, and 3 people end up dead.
Yeah, his story, real quick. I know you guys have to get to Egert here, but his story is interesting.
Blow him off.
Don't worry about it. Screw that guy. He won two state championships in high school as a wide receiver, but his grades weren't good enough to get into a big college. So he basically said, "I'm done with football." He winds up working at a Harris Teeter supermarket in I think it was in Maryland somewhere, and he won Employee of the Month as a deli ham slicer at one point, 19 years old. And so he winds up getting a call from a community college when he was 19, gets back into football, has a good year at a community college. Nick Saban finds him from Alabama. So he gets recruited to Alabama, starts his first game in the national championship game. Then he transfers to Oregon and becomes one of the best players in the country. But just it's what, man, like, you never know, man, whether you're 80 years old or 24 years old, you never know what's around the corner. And it's just another reminder.
Unfortunately, and look, I'm going to talk to Judd later on, so I'm going to make sure that he actually did fire you, or somebody just made it up.
Yeah, this is going to be my new thing. It's just like anonymously floating you fake tips, fake stories.
Well, as long as you make money off it, then I'm fine.
That would be the end goal. Clearly,
clearly. All right, Pally, we'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks a lot, Phil Mackey, ladies and gentlemen. SKOR North. So I guess there is no SKOR South yet.
No, not yet. They're working on it. Yeah,
working on the whole setup. Ladies and gentlemen, take a break. Be right back. Chris Egert joins us right after this. Let's take a second to talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. Matter of fact, I talked to Bilski this morning. Want to play a little golf with him. Oh, I've already got a game. I can't. Big shot. Look, there's no shortage of banking options in the Twin Cities. If you're tired of being just a number to your big national bank, let's say, be sure to talk to my friends at North American Banking Company. And again, I don't call people my friends if they're not my friends. Mike Bilski is one of my best friends, as a matter of fact. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but with unparalleled service of a community bank. I also like being able to go to any of their 6 Twin Cities locations: Roseville, 50th and France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. So if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Channel 5's Chris Egert is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. I'm actually surprised that you were able to show up today because, you know, hosting the Chad Hartman show over there on CCO. I mean, you know, are there any other radio companies that you went to work for that other than Hubbard that we should know about?
I've been doing that for about a year, I'd say.
Well, have you really?
Yeah.
Chad's a great guy. Chad's a really good friend of mine.
It's usually for Chad or for DeRusha doing the evening drive.
Okay.
Chad's because then you're done at 3, right? Like that seems like a pretty ideal shift.
Yeah, noon to 3. Mm-hmm. That is a good one, man. There's no question about that. But yeah, Chad really wanted me to come to work over there, as a matter of fact. But you know, what's that scumbag's name that bought the place? What the hell's his name again? George Soros. You know that George Soros bought WCCO, right?
As a part-time employee of WCCO Radio.
Oh, here we go. You actually get paid for that crap? I mean, your abilities?
Hey, I ain't doing it for free, my man.
What a shock. Yeah, God.
How was your trip?
If you pay me. What?
How was your trip?
Well, you used to live in Washington, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you ever get to Spokane?
Yeah. Not as much as I'd like to, but we were over there several times. Yeah.
Love Spokane. And then Coeur d'Alene. Oh, my God, Chris. Coeur d'Alene is spectacular.
Did you guys drive out or did you fly out?
We flew out to Spokane, spent a couple of days in Spokane during Hoop Fest, ladies and gentlemen.
How was that?
It was phenomenal. These kids were so excited. It was absolutely wonderful.
Were they like playing outside and stuff, or were they?
They had about 10 city streets blocked off so they could play in the street. It was
cool.
It was fantastic. And you ever been to the Davenport Hotel in Spokane? It is one of the most spectacularly beautiful hotels I have ever seen. And they tell the story. Some guy stepped up, or a man and a woman stepped up. They were married. They were going to tear this place down, and they stepped up and said, "You cannot tear this." It was empty for 15 years because the kids didn't want to run it.
Yeah.
They just shut it down. But I am so glad they didn't tear that hotel down. It is beautiful.
How'd you guys end up out there? I'm glad you went, but it seems kind of like random.
I have never been to Idaho or Washington State.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go to Coeur d'Alene. I'd heard so many great things about Coeur d'Alene, and it's just, oh my God, is it beautiful. And we went up to Sand Point north of there, which actually, I think Tevin was that you were looking at Sand Point's beach.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's incredible.
On that lake in the mountains oh my God, it's beautiful. It's nicest people in the world too.
It's super pretty countryside. It's weird though, living in Seattle. And the difference between Seattle and Spokane.
Oh yeah, huge.
It's a cultural divide. It's the Cascade Mountains divide that state in a cultural way and a geographic way. But a lot of people from Seattle would go to school out at Washington State.
Oh yeah.
And which is not too far. Pullman's not too far from Spokane. So then you'd have a bunch of Wazoo people living in Seattle. So there's a fair amount of people living in Seattle who went out there. But yeah, the differences between, in fact, Seattleites will like begrudgingly refer to Spokane as Spokompton.
Spokompton? Only when the drug addicts are out in the street.
It's messed up because it's so dumb. It's like anything. But it's such pretty, that high desert. Oh, God. So pretty. And
how about all those waterfalls in Spokane from the Spokane River, though? Oh my God, they're beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad you guys took that trip. That's a
good we are too. I will probably I'll probably go to that area. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a cabin there or something.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be great.
That beautiful.
Was it easy? I've never flown into Spokane.
Really easy. It's a smaller airport, so it's very, very easy.
That's good.
Yeah, it was terrific. It was about I guess flying out, it's about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Flying back, it's about 2.5 hours because you're against the wind when you're flying out there. But I would highly recommend. But if you do go, it's only a 35, 40-minute drive out to Coeur d'Alene from Spokane. Yep. And then another 35, 40 minutes up to Sand Point if you want. You got to do all three places because they're just amazing.
Sure.
God, they're beautiful. Nicest people in the world, too.
Good. Well, I'm glad you had a good trip. You didn't miss much news-wise this week. locally, it was a pretty quiet week. Like, because with the holiday in the middle of the week, like there was, and I think I worked every day, and there was no traffic on the roads. There really wasn't a lot of like local news that was going on. It was pretty chill. Obviously everything was, post debate Biden meltdown kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
And that's kind of continued through the weekend. And I think again today, I just saw before I came on the air that Biden sent a letter out to Democrats insisting that they fall in line and it's time to drop this nonsense and let's get our stuff together and support me and let's go get Trump. I don't think that letter's I don't think that's gonna do it.
There's going to be some big. What is going to happen with this presidential election? I
don't know.
It's weird.
It's fascinating to see how it's all going to play out, and if they ultimately do have to fall in line because they realize that at the 11th hour it's going to be impossible to try to put somebody else in there. I don't know. Did you happen to watch the Stephanopoulos interview on Friday?
I hate George Stephanopoulos. I used to have to work with him. What a prick!
I had a feeling you had thoughts, but I honestly thought he did a fair interview. And
he does a good job with that. Yeah,
asked tough questions, and I don't think a lot. Well, at least the reaction that I heard after it and have read, I don't think after that interview. I mean, it was better, but I don't think it did much to reassure Democrats that he's, where he needs to be to beat Trump. So,
you know what I would probably do? I don't know, maybe this is way off kilter, but she's a conservative Democrat, but she is a Democrat. She's a woman of color. Why don't they run Tulsi Gabbard? I think she'd win by a landslide.
Interesting. I haven't heard that name being thrown around, but
I think she's terrific. And she's a Democrat, so she can run a Democratic Party. She's a conservative Democrat. But again, you have a woman of color who served in the military, busted her ass. I think she's terrific.
Well, the whole problem with the first problem is how do you piggyback over Kamala Harris when she's already set up with the campaign and the fundraising and the money, all the money they've got in their war chest has to go to Biden or Harris. So if they could put Harris in, she gets the money so they can, run the campaign. It's when you then bring somebody else and go over her, that's where things get really weird. And then the money gets weird. And then it also just doesn't look good for Kamala Harris. If you're like, it's okay. It's okay if you're vice president, but nobody really wanted you to be president.
No.
So
it's going to be interesting. There's no question, but you know what? The last minute or two, we should do some public service because when we got back, I wouldn't you say the closest thing to Coeur d'Alene? I mean, there's no comparison. They're both beautiful, but in different ways. But the closest thing to Coeur d'Alene would be that walk along downtown Wayzata, right on the water there.
That's
Lake Street. It's just beautiful.
That is a really, really, really pretty part of the area for sure.
There's no doubt about it. So, two things you need to do, because Ethan, God, I love it when Andy gets so frustrated because Ethan is a wild man. He's 2 years old and he's just nuts. I love the kid. He's just a wonderful kid. So I introduced him at Benedict's. The Benedict's is right there on Lake Street. Really good restaurant. A lot of good restaurants out there. A lot of them, right? We had the monkey bread. So then for about an hour, all Ethan talked about was monkey bread. Okay. So then the next route we took, I ordered the Elvis pancakes. You ever had the Elvis pancakes? Peanut butter and banana on pancakes.
Yum.
They were phenomenal. You don't have to put the syrup on there. You ask me, I want syrup. I go, no, I don't want any syrup.
No,
you don't need the syrup. But I'm eating the Elvis pancakes and Ethan's eating the monkey bread and we're having a ball. 925. That's the restaurant that has, I believe or is it Benedict's? I can't.
Benedict's is right down there. I've never been to Benedict's, but I've heard everyone say
really good.
I'm a old school. If I'm going to Wayzata, I'm going to Maggie's for breakfast. That's like the OG Greek
yeah.
restaurant right there.
Right across the street.
Yeah.
Catherine and I are out in that area now, and we just absolutely love it. And that, while I go for a 5-mile morning walk like this morning, I went for a 5-mile walk because there's so much beauty that you don't even notice you're walking. You know what I mean? It's very, very nice. Really, really nice area.
Every once in a while, I'll load the dogs up in the car and go either walk downtown Excelsior. I usually walk downtown Excelsior to make it, which is another like really pretty area.
Absolutely, it is.
To make it feel like I'm rich and I live there.
There you go.
Oh, maybe I'll go to Wayzata today just to, change the scenery.
Well, I'll see you out there because also, all three, the grandkids, there's a splash pad right on, where that is.
Right by Cove there.
Yeah, with like the fountains that spray up. Yeah.
Yep. And the only being that loves it more than the 3 grandchildren is Jude, our dog. He loses his mind at the splash pad.
That's a good idea. That's fun. I think
Oh, you got to go to the splash pad because right across the street, of course, is Ben and Jerry's. Now, that'll prove to you how open I am because I will still eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream, even though they're politically insane.
I'm sure you don't match up very well on their politics.
Oh, God, they're just like I said, I love Democrats, I love Republicans, but that extremism is like settle down for Christ.
I'm kind of, this is probably controversial, but I remember saying something on the air once about Chick-fil-A, and boy, did people like just got up all in my business. and I'm like, listen, I'm not here for the politics. I just want a good chicken sandwich. Okay. Like, don't.
Oh, is it because he closes on Sundays? Because he's a Christian?
There's been some other things, but anyway, to your point, like, dude, I just want a freaking good chicken sandwich. Like,
I am not kidding you. There's a Chick-fil-A down where we stay in Florida. The lineup is about 3 blocks long. And I'm not exaggerating. The lineup to get to the drive-through is about 3 blocks long every day.
There's a weird obsession with Chick-fil-A because it seems like every one, the line is down the block. And I mean, the chicken sandwiches are okay.
Not that great. I agree with you, Tevin.
It's tasty, but it's not that good, everybody. Let's relax a little bit here.
Yeah.
You know what I love about the guy, though? There's a Chick-fil-A at the Falcon Stadium.
They're closed on Sunday.
It's closed on Sunday.
Just
when so they only look like Thursday night games?
Right?
Yeah.
What's that?
He's just trolling everybody with that.
Yeah.
I think he probably is.
I suppose there's Monday night games and other games, but still, yeah.
Okay, so if you go the monkey bread at Benedict's and the Elvis pancakes at 925.
It sounds like I could have a real nice little 8,000 calorie breakfast.
That's about it. Oh, but you're so lucky. Jade Fountain's fantastic. You already mentioned Maggie's. You got Sushi Fix is Patty McCormick is one of my favorite people in the world. McCormick's there, Gianni's. I mean, but Patty McCormick, what a special person she is.
I like the Muni too. It's pretty chill.
Oh, the Muni's wonderful. Wayzata Bar Grill, fantastic.
Full tabs there.
Oh yeah, we're hanging out, man. We'll get it done. But yeah, we'll. I'm glad we covered so much news today because this stuff's important.
Yeah, well, I'm not at work actually, so we could go. I had a little extra time today to hang out. So.
No, I noticed that you weren't pissing and moaning from minute one.
I took the day off on Friday. I had to take the day off last minute today because I had to take my daughter to a basketball camp.
Oh, okay.
Like in frickin' Crookston or something. It was going to be like drive up and back in one day. So we were going to have to leave at like 3 a.m, back at like 10. It was going to be the most awful day. And then yesterday, somewhere around like 6-7 o'clock, I double checked the confirmation email and it was like, oh, the camp's in Bloomington. I was like, oh shit, what?
Oh well.
So I already took the day off and like they already had replacements and stuff there for me. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just take the day off.
I gotta warn you one thing. I know you gotta go because you gotta go get out there and get that monkey bread.
Yep.
But I take that walk, and part of my walk is right down Lake Street. I go a mile down Lake Street and a mile back. So I'm walking along when we got back on Friday. We got back from Coeur d'Alene on Friday, and I'm going for a walk. As I'm walking on Friday, I walked by, I won't say which restaurant it was, but it was one of the ones we mentioned. This guy sees me. He stands up and goes, "It's the Godfather of Wayzata." Then I go to Red Cow. I get the great hamburgers I got at Red Cow. Oh. I get my order. It comes out and it says "The Godfather" on the bag. Nice. So now apparently I'm the Godfather of Wayzata because of this guy. But I'm walking and people ride by on their bikes. Hey, keep it up, TB. They're just, I don't even know these people. They're just very, very nice.
Good. I'm glad you're liking it there. It's a cool.
Oh, love it. Absolutely. All right. Well, enjoy your tough day you got ahead of you.
Yep. Gonna go.
Yep.
Do something.
Okay. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Pally.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. You were shaking your head a lot. You go out to Wayzata a lot?
Oh, yeah. I go out to Wayzata as much as possible. I love it out there. The lake's amazing. Beautiful. And like you guys are saying, a lot of great restaurants up and down like that little main street there. It's a good time.
Lake Street is it's unbelievable. There's no question about it. They got a boardwalk there now, on the other side.
Yeah, I think they just finished it, right?
They
Where,
just finished
pretty
it,
much in the water. You can walk
it's
around. So
amazing. It's spectacular. No question about that. I'll probably now have the mayor at Wayzata. Don't tell people to come out. What are you doing? Right. All right, we'll take a break. And some Italian guy is going to jump on with us in a couple of minutes, but we'll be right back. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever. When you use promo code TOM, you get free shipping on your entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM, and you can get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
K&L Surplus and Ammo in Atlanta Lakes is my choice for firearms and ammunition. Jim, the owner, is one of the most knowledgeable people in the business and is great at getting you into the right firearm for your needs. We've talked about that before. You need the right firearm. Jim's the guy who can get it done for you. K&L Surplus and Ammo now carries Benelli shotguns that offer enhanced performance, amazing reliability for uses ranging from waterfowl hunting to skeet shooting and more. I highly encourage you to stop in, talk with Jim and the rest of the K&L Surplus crew. Between their superior knowledge of firearms, friendly customer service, overall stock, and fair pricing, I can't imagine a better location to purchase your next firearm. K&L Surplus and Ammo is on Lake Drive in Atlanta Lakes, open Tuesday through Saturday. You can reach them by phone at 763-757-2614, or you can also visit them online at www.klgunstore.com.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Bob Sansevere Sports, brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyer seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Sandy.
Yes. How was all your vacations? Good, I'm guessing. And
I'm not kidding, man. It was just spectacular. I had never been to Washington or Idaho before. Spokane was magnificent. We just flew right into Spokane and spent a couple of days there. Beautiful. Then we drove the 35, 40 minutes over to Coeur d'Alene, stayed there for 4 or 5 days, drove up to Sand Point, which is about another 35, 40-minute drive north of there. The whole area, Bob, is just spectacular.
I guess I didn't realize Spokane is that close to Coeur d'Alene. But again, it's in the northeast corner of the state, right? So it's got to be
yes, sir.
Pretty close. And Coeur d'Alene, you hear great things about it.
Oh, Bob, just really, really wonderful. No question about it. It's, it's one of those situations. And we were just talking about the fact that Lake Street in Wayzata is a lot like it. I mean, it's not the same, obviously. But that walk, I was talking to Tevin off the air about taking a walk down Lake Street there in Wayzata. That's spectacular.
Well, that's a great starting point if you want to walk around Minnetonka.
Yeah, the whole 555 miles.
What's the radio goof who said that I'm going to walk around Lake Minnetonka?
His first day on the radio, and this beautiful day here in the Twin Cities. Matter of fact, right after the show, I plan on taking a walk around Lake Minnetonka. Well, you'll be walking for a while, pal.
Yeah.
Don't take a walk around Lake Coeur d'Alene either, because it's 25 miles long.
Minnetonka, it's got to be something like that too. It's
555 miles because of all the in and outs and all that.
Oh, it is that. Wow, I didn't realize it was that many miles.
It's a 555-mile walk.
Back when we did boating on Lake Minnetonka, I was in every bay they had too.
Oh God, yeah.
Out. It was
no question about it.
It was a lot of fun back then, but those days are long gone because then we discovered horses.
Oh, that's a whole different world, man. I've been through that myself, no question. That's not expensive at all either.
Oh, goodness gracious, no.
Oh, no, not at all. By the way, I thought of you on Saturday because I told you before, Andy's son Ethan, for some reason, has an Italian accent. I don't know why. But we went to Benedict's right there on Lake Street in Wayzata, and they have monkey bread, which is, honest to God, if you've never had it, you're nuts because it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But 2-year-old Italian Ethan, monkey bread. You want something else, Ethan? Monkey bread. Why do you have an Italian accent? I don't get it.
Mamma mia, the monkey bread.
Monkey bread, mamma mia. So what's going on in your world, Bob?
Well, in my world, it's my daughter was pestering my wife to get a pool. So we got an above ground one, not an expensive one, except you live out in the country, you were going to deal with that rusty water. And we have,
yeah.
I mean, Mary's been going back. She can get it clear, but then you put chlorine in and it gets cloudy again or brown again. It's a battle. And I had never dealt with water bugs before. You ever deal with a water bug? They've got like fins. So. I mean, they like fly underwater. It's like they're flying underwater. And those little suckers can move. It's actually it's a pretty good test of. It reminds me of growing up in New Jersey when you'd go crabbing, you would pull the crabs up on a line very slowly, and then you scoop them with a net. You got to scoop these little buggers with a net.
Oh, really?
You have to get them, but they are fast. So I every time I go, I've only gone in a couple of times, but that's what I spent my time doing is going after those little devils. They've got back swimmers and they got different names. There's like 4 different types of water bugs, and we may have them all.
But you got them all covered and everything's good. So everything else is good in life.
Yeah, things are pretty good. I got my Friday. You'll see me. I'll be like this in a sling because our pal Dr. Dana Harms, the best orthopedic surgeon that I know, and you may know too, is
I know Dana very well.
He's carving into my left shoulder. I have a torn rotator cuff and a ruptured bicep.
From what?
Jeez. I think one of them was from a trip and fall because somebody left something on the floor that I didn't see. I know if I did drink, it would have been much worse. But okay, here's what happened. I felt fine after I fell, right? And I hit my head a little bit, not a big deal. Maybe that's why I felt fine because I didn't realize. But a few days later, I wake up and I say to Mary, my lovely bride, did you punch me overnight? Did I like roll over and bug you? Because my arm felt like somebody punched me in the arm. So that was bugging me for a little bit. Then about a week or so later, my kids, they do high school rodeo. So my son puts, hay in the back of the truck, never got it out. It starts to rain. So I'm pulling these 50-pound bales out.
Oh, God.
And I think that's what did it. Because I don't know if maybe some listeners saw it if they follow me on Facebook. I put photos of my arm was completely red. It had just, it started as a little black and blue, and each hour got progressively worse to the point where it ran down my arm. Even for, though it was bicep, it was bleeding everywhere.
Well, it's nice to hear from you today, Bob.
Yeah, I got nothing but happy things to talk about.
We'll talk to you again on Friday about your misery.
Well, that's what I mean. But I'll be like this.
You'll be fine.
But I know you probably talked about it already. This horrible story and sad story.
I know.
About Khyree Jackson.
Just sad. Very, very depressing. Really, really sad. It's the only way you can look at it. I heard about it when we were out in Coeur d'Alene, and just it was three friends killed.
Yeah, and when in the middle of the night, and they apparently it was not their fault. They were hit by someone else. It could have been drinking involved, and
right.
When I first saw it, I'm thinking I had disbelief, and then you see the Wilfs put out a statement, and that certainly confirms it. But what it reminded me of is this goes back to when my very first job. I was still in college, working at a newspaper in New Jersey. And I covered the state wrestling championships, right? Kid from Neptune, New Jersey, wins a state championship. That night, he got killed in a car accident. So he had the greatest moment of his life.
Yeah.
He's got his world ahead of him with college and, a state champion. And it's just a reminder how there's nothing guaranteed. The next second isn't guaranteed to any of us.
You're right about that. It's very, very sad, but... All right, Pally, we'll talk to you later on in the week. Always great talking to you.
I live for that. And by the way, your Twins, they've won 2 of 3 of the last 5 series.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It is really, really
ripping
good.
It up. We'll see you next Friday on Friday.
Thanks, Bob. Bob Sansevere Sports brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant Personal Injury Lawyers, seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Is Paul going to be with us in a couple minutes?
Yeah, right after the break.
Magnificent. Paul Gelder will be with us. Shark Week on Discovery Channel. It started yesterday, as a matter of fact, runs through the 13th, so that'll be good. Paul Gelder, our special guest, right in a couple of minutes. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
I'm here talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, it seems like banking has changed quite a bit since you first opened your doors in 1998.
Yes and no. In 98, we didn't have online and mobile banking like we do today. Many banking processes have also changed. One thing that hasn't changed is we still provide a true community bank experience right here in the Twin Cities.
Our team takes the time to get to know our customers and their goals. This creates a relationship that is unique in banking today and one our customers appreciate. It's why we like to say, we provide a better banking experience.
You're absolutely right, Brad. I've been a customer for a long time. The service your team provides is phenomenal.
Thanks, Tommy.
So why not bank with my banker, North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
All right, I've been corrected. Both the Elvis pancakes and the monkey bread are at Benedict's, and 925 has the pretzel.
Oh, okay.
The hanging pretzel. It's about as big as all three of our heads put together.
Okay.
So I'd go to both places, but the Elvis pancakes were at Benedict's. I wanted to make sure.
Would you say you could take a shark-sized bite out of those?
Well, that's exactly why I want to get into the pretzel, because only a shark could get the entire pretzel in its mouth. It's literally about a foot by a foot. It's that big. And I don't know. Paul de Gelder, you ever had a gigantic pretzel?
I'll take that bet.
You what?
I'll take that bet. I'll try and fit it in my mouth.
Of I guarantee you, this thing is so delicious, and they got little dips you can put it in or whatever. But it was just a magnificent weekend for me. Spent a lot of time with the family over the weekend. My son, my daughter, their families, and all the rest of it. I had Elvis pancakes, which you don't even have to put syrup on them because there's so much other stuff on them. I had a magnificent weekend, and now, of course, I get back to my house last night. Which, by the way, Paul, I want to thank you, Paul de Gelder, and I talked about this. I said, Paul, could you start the first episode of Shark Week on Discovery Channel on July 7th, because it's Catherine and my 40th wedding anniversary. So on my 40th wedding anniversary, I got to watch the first episode of Shark Week on Discovery Channel.
What a gift. A magnificent weekend leading into an amazing week.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You go through the 13th, correct? Through this Saturday?
Yeah, that's it. There's going to be a whole bunch of new shows. I am fortunate enough to have 5 of them this year, so it's a really big week for me.
I was looking at your promo pictures, and I think Paul, I've talked to Paul several times. Paul survived an attack from a shark, lost an arm and a leg. I'm looking at your picture right now. You might be the only guy with one arm and one leg I wouldn't want to piss off.
I don't know about that. I know some military guys that have come back missing some limbs, and they are monsters.
That's very true. You're absolutely right. People are fascinated, I think, with sharks because you and I have talked about this before, Paul, that I was followed down in the Grand Caymans. I was followed by a shark all the way back to a boat. Never did come after me, but apparently the people on the boat watched it follow me all the way back to the boat. So did I just get lucky, or were they just curious? I mean, obviously, if this was a shark that was going to attack, it would have attacked. So are some sharks just curious?
Yeah, there's over 500 species of sharks, so it really depends on what sort it was.
Yeah.
If you're swimming calmly as well and you're not creating too much of a splash, then they're not really going to be that attracted to you. Plus, how big was it? You might have been much too big for it to handle. But sharks are also, they will go and see if any other animals around them have food with them, and so they might use you as a source of food. Not you yourself, but something that you have.
Oh, okay. So that's the whole deal. So I do want to, and again, you and I have talked about this several times, but we have some new listeners now. Now you were an elite Australian Navy diver. How did this happen to you?
I was conducting a counter-terrorism exercise in Sydney Harbour with my team, and I was swimming in the water right next to the Navy base. This is a place where we've worked for decades, and we've never even seen sharks there, but a lot of the fishermen said they'd seen them. I'm in the water, on the surface, in my black wetsuit with a pair of black flippers, and a 10-foot bull shark came up from underneath me and grabbed me by the back of the leg and the hand in the same bite. And so I couldn't even really fight it off because I had my leg and my arm was pinned to my side. And so it was just a rag doll in its mouth, and it just tore me apart. So fortunately, my wetsuit made me buoyant, so it brought me back to the surface, and I swam back to my safety boat with one leg and one hand through a pool of my own blood. Fortunately, my teammates were there. They rendered first aid and kept me alive until the paramedics got there.
Paul, that's such an amazing story. And yet, after what you went through, your attention is still on the shark. I mean, that's pretty bold, I think.
Oh, what can I say? I'm a glutton for punishment. I think there's a good message in that. If someone like me that has had their life drastically changed by a shark attack can learn to appreciate them and see them for what they are, this essential part of the ecosystem, an incredible animal. If I can do that, then surely everyone else can as well.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, are there any, because like swimming in the ocean is a wonderful experience. If you, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never, obviously there are 15,000 lakes in Minnesota, so there's a lot of swimming going on in the lakes. But swimming in the ocean is a whole different kettle of fish because of just what people like you have been through. You never see it coming, do you?
Very, very rarely do you see it coming in. That's testament to why we should stay out of those murky water areas, because that's prime hunting ground for the sharks. They can't see you, you can't see them, and so sometimes they strike out of defense, out of investigation. And so, as the most intelligent species on the planet, we like to call ourselves, we need to use our big brains to help us stay safe.
Now, Shark Week began last night, and if people were foolish enough to have missed last night, there are several more episodes from tonight through July 13th, this Saturday. Any specific sharks you're looking at day by day by day?
Oh, man, there's so many new shows. I've got 5, and then all my friends have got their own shows, and it's running day and night as well. And so try not to miss out on any of the action. We're going across the globe, from New Zealand to New Caledonia. I think Forrest Gallant goes to Japan. It's just an adventure all across the planet.
Do people still do foolish things like swim towards sharks? Well, I'll go over there and see if that's a shark. Do people still do things like that?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? The funny thing is that most of the time when I take people, I've done a lot of work with celebrities, from Will Smith to Ronda Rousey to Mike Tyson, and they're always scared of getting in the water. But then when they get in the water and the sharks don't come near them, they're confused. They were expecting the sharks to come and want to attack them, and then they swim towards the sharks, and the sharks just swim away. So most of the time, they're not interested in us.
You know what's great about that, Paul, is you had an experience no one else has ever had. You saw Mike Tyson be afraid of something.
I've seen Mike Tyson throw up more than anyone else on the planet.
How did that happen?
He was so scared of the sharks, plus probably a little bit of seasickness. He threw up before or after nearly every dive.
Did you get it on film?
I don't know. I wasn't holding the camera. I was trying not to watch. I didn't want him to be embarrassed. But the thing was, we had a whole ocean right there. He could have thrown up in the ocean. No, he takes off his mask, throws up all over the back of the boat.
Oh. I am looking forward to it. Like I said, last night it debuted. Shark Week on Discovery Channel started last night. It'll go through this Saturday, July 13th. I'm looking forward to seeing many, many more shows. Paul, it's always great talking to you because you've always got great stories, sir.
You too, guys. Looking forward to next year. Make sure you watch all the shows. It's going to be really good.
We'll get it done. Thank you, Paul. Paul de Gelder, ladies and gentlemen. Good. I got out just in time, didn't I? Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, he's got to go. He's got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of got to go, we got to get rid of Kristen Burt, don't we? Eventually, I don't know how we're going to work it out.
I don't know. We just had a week off from talking to her. I'm kind of chomping at the bit to see her again.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't big time us for another KPBS show.
KPBS. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Burt will join us right after this.
I've been tracking the weather in Minnesota for a long time. I'm 5 Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Ken Barlow. And in the morning, I've got to be right because my forecast affects your family's entire day. And in the evening, you can count on my friend, Ren.
That's right, Ken. I'm 5 Eyewitness News evening meteorologist Ren Claire. And as a Minnesotan, I know our weather can be tricky. Throughout the day and into the night, I've got you covered with an accurate forecast to help keep your family safe and ready for any weather.
And don't forget, no matter how things change or what time of day, you'll always get our forecast first at the start of every newscast on 5 Eyewitness News. Start your day with me, Ken Barlow.
And wrap up your day with me, Ren Claire.
Because 5 Eyewitness News is always tracking our weather. So you're always alerted first. It's why 5 Eyewitness News is Minnesota's weather authority.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you talk to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast, and I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Burt, Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So we're just talking about some experiences having gone through. You ever been to Spokane?
I have.
I love that town.
It's beautiful.
I think it is too. And then you go to Coeur d'Alene and Sand Point and those places. My God, it's beautiful.
I have never been to Idaho. So Coeur d'Alene, I've heard, is stunning.
Stunning. It's amazing. And then you get up to Sand Point and there's this gigantic lake in the mountains, you know, because the mountains get bigger the farther you go north, I guess. But yeah, a great experience, just absolutely amazing experience. And then, you know, it's just one of those times we just got very, very lucky. It was our 40th anniversary last night.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Oh, congrats. I didn't even know that.
Yes. I celebrated 8 and I felt like that's a milestone.
No, Catherine, I've been with Catherine since she was 21 years old.
Wow.
44 years. Unbelievable.
You guys were babies.
She's the best of all time. I'm sure your husband would argue with me, but Catherine is, man, I don't know how I got so damn lucky.
I don't know. My husband some days might be like, yeah, no, KB1's better than KB2.
You have your rough days, do you?
No.
I highly doubt that. You know.
No, like I said, I'm like, we don't yell. We just sit there and what did he do? He did something last week and I was just like, oh, I had asked him to mail a thank you note to my mother because she had gotten us an anniversary gift. And he's like, put it by my keys and by my drink. I won't forget it. So what did he do? He picked up his keys and his drink and forgot it.
All
night long, I'd be like,
yeah,
forget something, the post office.
I don't know exactly.
I couldn't stop laughing though. I was so annoyed, but it was so funny because I'm like, how did you possibly forget to do that?
Now I got to ask you this because obviously you're well known in the business of, you know, television and radio and all the different stuff. But I experienced something over the weekend that was really weird. I got a call from a guy I've known for 40 years. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I used to work with him a long time ago. And he called me and he told me, hey, did you hear about Dana Perino? And I'm like, what about her? Oh, that Fox fired her. He's got in an argument with one of the other guys and blah, blah, blah. I find out later, luckily pretty quickly, that he was lying to me just to get on this show. He has a new news service that he wanted to promote on this show, and he lied to try to get on this show.
That's disappointing to hear. No, but you know, I will say this. I especially when like Dancing with the Stars rolls around, I get a lot of like hints and tips and sources start talking. And I really, because I've learned my lesson on this too. I think, you know, before you talk and say anything out loud on social media, I usually now go back and like verify with 2 other different sources to go, have you heard this? Do you know this? Because otherwise you do get caught up in the misinformation that goes around on the internet, not necessarily intentionally because you're like, oh, I have a history with this person, but you don't know, like if my source heard it from somebody else who heard it from somebody else. You're going down the chain. So I need to go to 2 other reliable sources now and go, is this true? Is this fact? Have you heard this rumor? And keep on going over and over again. And sometimes I'll sit on news because I'm like, I just don't feel comfortable putting it out. And I am talking about a dancing competition show, like something that it doesn't really harm anyone. But the way that rumors travel on the internet, we have to be so cautious when you're in the public eye.
Yep. I should have been much more cautious. But he's a guy I knew, and he knew I like Dana Perino. I think she's very, very talented, does a good job. Speaking of that, by the way, what the hell? What happened to Megyn Kelly? Why does she keep moving from place to place to place?
Because she's very hard to work with, I think.
Is she really
I think
hard
so.
to work with?
She's been, and I feel like with Megyn, I feel like she is someone, and this is just my opinion on it. This is just kind of like how I feel, is that she kind of rolls with wherever she's working. So when she had that really big deal with NBC News, she was like, okay, I'm going to maybe cater a little bit more toward an NBC audience. And then, nope, I can't work here anymore. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to lean this way. And when you sort of like waffle back and forth, it's confusing to the audience. And I don't think it makes you an authentic, powerful voice in the space that she's in.
So she changes too, because like I said, I've been a Democrat, I've been a Republican, and I like Democrats and Republicans, but I can't stand the far left or the far right. So I have changed my political views a couple of times in my life, but that's not what this is about. It's not changing political views. It's just going off the deep end.
It is. I feel like if there is a controversial story going on, she jumps on like the super salacious side of it to say, I'm going to make outrageous statements. I personally don't necessarily feel that she believes that when the camera turns off. Do you know what I mean? Because we are all allowed to grow and evolve and change our political views. You should be evolving as you get older. But to me, it feels like wherever the wind is blowing is where Megyn Kelly is going. It doesn't feel genuine and authentic. And I think that it's the authenticity that I'm missing in her personality.
But the one thing about the trying to check on all this stuff is I had never seen the show The View before. And I watched that. Those women are nuts. Holy God, do they get wound up?
That show has evolved over time into something that is just bananas now. It was originally started by Barbara Walters, and it was designed to be like this nice little like coffee clatch of like literally sitting and discussing hot topics. But it became, they realized, I think, that their ratings went up the more that they talked about politics. And, most of the panel leans left. There's always a voice that is conservative on that panel. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But, you've got Whoopi as the moderator, and Whoopi's Whoopi, Joy Behar is Joy Behar. And then you have other people just all fighting for airtime. But I am going to say this, one of the best books ever written about a behind the scenes atmosphere on that show. It's called The Ladies Who Punch. It's written by Ramin. I forget Ramin's last name. He works for Variety, and he currently has the book out about the behind the scenes on The Apprentice with Donald Trump. But he wrote about the behind the scenes on The View, and it is unbelievable because you got all of these women to talk about their experience. And for a lot of them, it really wasn't pleasant, and they were all just fighting for their lives.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and Barbara Walters was just pure evil as the mastermind of it.
Oh, really?
It really paints her in a different light and how she would pit the women against each other. I mean, if you sit there and you think, because Barbara Walters broke so many glass ceilings for so many journalists, which is incredible.
Yeah, true.
But then when you sit there and go, yay, girl power, all of a sudden she creates this show for women, and they were just all beating each other up in the dressing rooms at ABC.
Boy, I tell you, they do on the air, man. If you appear on that show and you don't agree with everything they say, they go after you big time.
It's rough. You have to have really thick skin to appear on the show. And I mean, Meghan McCain talks about it, and she said she'd never go back. I mean, she really hated her time there. Elizabeth Hasselbeck had a really hard time on that show. Rosie O'Donnell had a hard time on that show.
Really?
Star Jones, like, I highly recommend the book. I will link it in my Instagram stories if anyone wants to get it.
All right.
It is delicious. It really is.
I love getting your take on these things because you watch it and you go, man, is this intentional? Are these people that nuts? I mean, good God, they go after people.
And they still do well. Like they still catch those like viral sound bites in those moments, even to this day, which is so surprising. But at the same time, I still think some of them are fighting for their lives behind the scenes. I think it's better now. The atmosphere is better, but I have a feeling, let's say you and I battled like on camera.
Mm-hmm.
We don't carry that over behind the scenes, but I think a lot of times they're carrying it over behind the scenes at the field.
Boy, that's got to be tough.
It's tough.
Oh, one other thing this just popped into my head about people lying and all the rest of it. Somebody sent me this clip. It's from Wikipedia. He sent me a clip of this it says in there, Tom Barnard fires John Lastman. I never fired John Lastman. Like, why do you print that stuff?
Well, Wikipedia is user generated, so you can get that removed if you want to, by the way.
That's where they still go after me about being racist and homophobic. It's all bullshit. And everybody
you can get it flagged though if you want to. So
I'm gonna have to, I think, because to this day, John Lastman and I are friends. You can ask him. I did not fire him.
You can get it added. John Lastman and I are friends in your Wikipedia entry.
Yeah, I can do that. That's a good idea. Why people like to do that? I just don't understand. Why do people like to do that?
I don't know. I mean, there is a funny side to Wikipedia, and Tevin and AJ, you can probably think of a moment. Like it's amazing to me in Wikipedia, like the moment someone's announced dead, it's already up on their Wikipedia page.
Oh, really?
Yes, because people are so quick. They want to be the first person to get that news. Or there was, I don't know if anyone saw it, but there was this crazy story about Gwyneth Paltrow having a house guest who had an intestinal issue at her home, and it was everywhere.
That's a nice way to put it.
I'm being kind because it is early in the morning for everyone, and I don't know if anyone's eating breakfast, but just an intestinal issue. And the Daily Mail announced who this was, and it's a fashion stylist. I'm not going to announce him. You can find it on the internet. The guy has had enough. But on his Wikipedia entry, someone had said was a famous guest house who left a special gift on his Wikipedia entry. Like they had put it up immediately. Now it's already taken down at this point, which is funny. But I mean, like people just like to insert their own bit of humor into the situation. So Wikipedia is evolving.
Was it coming out of both ends or something?
Just one end. It was an exit.
It was an exit.
Exit, not where it should have been.
The headline for this was just like, I don't know how this gets approved. And I get it's like it made the rounds. So they probably are at the end of the day, we're thrilled with this. But it was very detailed, and it outed this guy for having a intestinal problem.
Okay, this is what his Wikipedia entry, because I did snap it at the time. It said, had diarrhea in a famous person's house.
Oh, so they were sitting around the living room and the guy poops his pants?
It was the guest house. And they blamed it on Ozempic, because Ozempic can give you intestinal problems.
Oh, God. People love to blame
all alleged. Derek has... The person hasn't come out and said who it was.
Derek.
Uh-oh.
Well, now you know. Allegedly, the guy is named Derek.
But Derek says.
I was like, oops.
You really covered that up well, I thought.
Allegedly.
Quite it all.
Yeah, allegedly, it's described as catastrophic diarrhea.
Oh my God.
Poor Derek.
What the hell was he wearing?
Poor allegedly Derek.
Or allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, allegedly Derek. What else is happening in your world, sister?
The big news, and we will start seeing this this week, starting tomorrow, is the jury selection for Alec Baldwin's manslaughter trial.
Yeah.
Court TV is going all out for this. They're sending correspondents. They're having some of their anchors do commentary, like on other news outlets. They're putting all their eggs in one basket for this particular trial because they are, obviously in the courtroom. But they said that this has become big business. In the last couple of years, Court TV has had great success. Last year was Gwyneth Paltrow's ski trial. Does everyone remember that?
Nope.
So, AJ, you remember it?
Yeah, I think it was very. it was very much for me like I don't really care about this, but it was like wasn't she left liable, but then not really at the end of the day because of certain liability, like loopholes that were found in like the legal system?
Well, she allegedly was reckless on the ski slope. That was the allegation, and that she plowed into this guy, and he sued her for being reckless on the ski, and there was plenty of commentary back and forth of like whether she was or wasn't, but she countersued him for like $1 and won the trial. But it became like a moment because she was wearing these like 1970s like glasses, so it became a fashion moment. And then when she won the trial and he had to give her $1, she like leaned over and whispered to her like, "I wish you well." It became like a Lifetime drama, like just ridiculous of all of this. Like, "I wish you well. Thanks for my $1." And Court TV also did really well the year before with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial.
Oh,
defamation
yeah.
trial.
Yeah.
So they've learned that like if they lean into like maybe one salacious celebrity trial story a year, it becomes buzzworthy. It goes viral on social media. So that is their plan with Alec Baldwin's one. I feel like this one is probably the most gruesome because, we're talking about a woman's life on the set. And I think Johnny Depp and Amber Heard it was a hard one because there were allegations of domestic violence. And I think honestly that they're both nuts, but I feel like this one in particular could be rather sensitive. So it would be interesting to see how they handle this trial and how they handle the commentary of it.
Do you think he's going to get nailed?
I feel like the prosecutor has mounted, I think we've talked about the case, like how, they're alleging that he was reckless on the case, that he was quick-tempered, that he was not taking safety seriously and was pointing the gun at places, that they cut corners financially and he was a producer.
Oh, yeah.
He could get nailed. Now, it really depends on the jury. And we're in a climate where people are turning against celebrities. They're not with celebrities.
Yeah.
It could work against him.
God, what an amazing. I mean, I know from the time I was a little boy, you don't ever point a gun at someone. Why would you ever do that?
I don't know. And, it doesn't matter if it is you're on set and you think you're in a controlled environment and you think it's a blank. We all know situations. Brandon Lee was someone.
Yep.
I think there was also Eric Heiberg in the 80s. He was on a TV show. He pointed a gun also thinking it was blanks and it was not. And we've seen these situations. Accidents do happen. People are careless. You have to treat it as like it is a real gun with live ammo.
Yep. Yeah, just don't ever point a gun at someone.
Yep, yourself or anyone else.
Yeah, yourself is not. Yeah, that's really bad because you won't even know you did it.
I know.
You'd die too soon. All right, another brilliant report. I thought we covered it all today.
We did. We hit like we wide berth. Love it.
There's a wide berth. So you're having fun at the new job?
I am. KPBS was fun. It was 4 days of like nonstop pledge drive. My teammates are great, and I really enjoyed it.
I think it's terrific they named the TV station after you or something about you. I thought that was really nice of them.
That was nice of them.
And by the way, before you go, this Hollywood Walk of Fame thing, thank you so much for that now. I'm dealing with that on a daily basis. It's your fault.
I was in Hollywood. Bill and I were walking to the Hollywood Bowl for the 4th of July, and there was a blank star right in front of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Right.
And people were like, "You're being mean to put it in front of that, not Capitol Records." But I'm like, actually, hear me out, people. This is prime real estate. It's right at Hollywood and Highland, right at that big intersection, like kitty corner to the Dolby Theater. It's where the volume of tourist traffic is. People will step on you every single day, which is exactly what you want.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's on a nice little corner. It's right next to the Max Factor building. Max Factor is a pioneer in Hollywood makeup. And that's now a museum. I don't know. I'm just thinking that was a good place for your little star. And then I showed you the little radio icon that will, if you get to Hollywood. Yeah.
And I get to be right next to RuPaul. So there you go.
Oh, RuPaul. That was my friend Christopher. It's not near RuPaul. Christopher and I were in different locations of the SKOR. He's from Minneapolis. I worked with him back when it was Shop NBC. I think it's Evine Live or something. I don't know what the network's called now, but he and I worked together. And then he went on to do Project Runway.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's a nice little famous Minnesota personality.
Big shot.
Yeah, but he and I happened to be on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at the same time, not realizing we were there at the same time.
I like it. All right, so we'll keep on. So forget about Capitol Records. I got to be on.
I think Capitol Records is also an option, but I'm just saying maybe as a plan B, we do it in front of Ripley's, believe it or not, because I do think that traffic-wise, that's a good one. Because then people will be like, Tom Barnard, let me look him up. It happens all the time. If I don't recognize a name, I look him up.
True. Yeah, that is
Your
true.
Google search will go up. We get SEO results. It's all good stuff. I'm thinking here.
I asked Catherine if I could borrow $75,000 from her to pay for it. She hasn't gotten back to me yet. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. That is going to do. My God, that show went by fast.
Yeah, today
flew by. But in any case, we'll be back tomorrow. The family show up in about 10 minutes.